Oh my goodness, did we find something interesting in this dresser? And you won't believe the way it turned out, so stay tuned. I picked this Bassett dresser up off of Facebook Marketplace quite a few months ago, and I probably paid too much. I think it was $70 because it was advertised as solid wood, which it is not, but I just loved the design on the top drawers and thought it was interesting, so I went ahead and picked this up and finally got to working on it. I knew I wanted to use a dark color on most of it, and so for that I really wanted to use my sprayer to get a nice smooth finish. And so that's partly why it's taken so long. Just had to wait for the weather to turn so I could get some more practice with the sprayer and then finally get to work on this piece. It was missing one of the little drawer stoppers, and so my husband just cut a new one and attached that there so the drawer would stay in place and sit evenly. After that, I got to cleaning, which you always want to do first, even before you sand, because if there is a lot of sticky or gunky stuff on there and then you start to sand it, it will gunk up your sandpaper more quickly and also kind of push that stuff down into the grooves of the wood grain, the parts that are wood. So make sure that you give it a good cleaning first. I'm using Heirloom Traditions all-in-one paint for this, and so I don't have to sand it, but with the top being so slick, because it's a veneer, I just went ahead and gave the whole thing just a quick little scuff sand so that I know the paint will stick really well. I'm using my Ryobi orbital sander, and I love these sandpaper discs that my dad told me about. They are from 3M, and it's called Extract Cubitron 2, and I can put a link down below if you're interested, but they just work so much faster than the some of the other sandpapers that I've tried. Once I was done sanding, I just gave it a quick wipe down with a wet shop rag, and then went over it again with my tack cloth just to make sure I get all those little particles off and have a smooth, clean surface. Decided to go ahead and do the base coat by hand just because it is so quick with Heirloom Traditions foam applicator, which I will have linked down below along with all the other products I use in case you want to check any of those out. But this goes on really quickly, and also just wanted to make sure that this was indeed the color that I wanted to go with, and it's their true black. It's called Iron Gate. One thing about the applicator sponges is that they do soak up quite a bit of paint, which means more waste, but one thing I found that helps is if you go ahead and wet your sponge a little bit first, as long as you're using water-based products, of course, that will help with that. Next, I did 2 coats with the sprayer, letting it dry really well after the first one. And a good tip is to make sure and check out your sprayer settings on a piece of cardboard or something so that you can make sure you've got it going the right direction and the amount of flow that you want. This is the first time I've painted something with the drawers in them when using my sprayer, and so I was kind of skeptical about how that would go, but it worked out really well, and it's definitely faster. And then I just went in, you'll see later, just touched up the top and the sides with a foam brush. So here's where the big fiasco with the top drawers all started. Well, actually I don't have a video of where it started because when I first got the dresser months ago, I went ahead and sanded down just one of the drawers because I was really excited to see what it was going to look like with that orange finish taken off. And at that time I still thought the drawers were solid wood, which they are not. But anyway, when I came back to working with these again, I decided instead of sanding first, I wanted to try using acetone to remove the finish so that I would have to do less sanding. Keep watching and you'll see why that was a very big mistake. But anyway, the acetone worked okay, not great. I let it sit for a little bit and then used a wire brush to scrape it off. And then a scraper, and like I said, it worked a little, not great, but I went ahead and started in on the sanding after that. So I've been working on these drawers and found out that this is in fact a very thin veneer. So unfortunately, I started to sand through it a little on this one. But I've been trying different things to try to get the stain, the old stain, out of these grooves, which has been a challenge. So we tried acetone, and then I did citrus strip, but only on these two drawers, and you can see now they have an orange tint to them, which I'm not happy about. So I may have to go ahead and add it to this one just so they all match, and then try to get them all lighter, because this lighter one is the color I'm going for. But I think what I'll do before I do that is try this wood bleach kit on these two that still have a little bit of an orange tint and see if I can't get that lighter. And then I don't know if I'm just gonna leave these grooves the way they are, or maybe paint them, try to paint them black. That might be a very time-consuming thing, so I don't know. We'll see. Nothing's ever easy. Alright, so it says to put on solution A and leave for 5 to 10 minutes. 5 minutes for softer woods, 10 for harder, but I don't know what veneer is considered, so we're gonna go right in the middle for 7 or 8 minutes. It says to saturate it pretty well, and I do want to try to get into these grooves. So I'm going to be putting a good amount on here. So I'll set my timer and then we'll come back and do part B. Alright, I'll let this sit, and now it's time for part B. So we'll get this on, and then it says to leave it set overnight, but I'll check on it in about 8 hours or so this evening and see what happens. And here's where I get impatient waiting for help to move this thing. So I decided to go ahead and move it myself inside so that I could finish working on it. And I'm going to try staging and taking photos in this different spot here in our basement. So I wanted to make sure that it was going to fit and everything and go ahead and get it in place. Here's where I painted the top and the side edges on the drawers, and it went super quick, so I definitely think it is worth it to spray pieces with drawers while they are in, and that way you get a good consistent finish as well. After those dried, I took my Dixie Belle wax. This is the one that's called Big Mama's Butter. It's a combination of a few different waxes, and it comes in a bunch of different scents. So it also helps if you've got any kind of musty or stinky smell in your piece. This really helps and conditions the wood as well. So I just do the sides since I'm going to be putting paper down, and then also flip it over. If the drawer glides are wood, then I'll do those as well. It's just so that they slide nice and easily. You can use a rag or any type of brush to apply this, but I love using my wax brush from Annie Sloan. It's just got a lot of densely packed stiff bristles, and it comes kind of to a point, so it helps you get in the corners really well. And also don't forget to do the other half of the slides that are inside of your piece. I like to add liners in all of my drawers and my pieces that I do. And of course, you don't have to do that, but I just think it's a fun addition that I get to pick out. And it also just helps to protect the bottom of the drawer so it'll last for the long term and makes it easy to clean and things like that. So I just make sure it's good and clean first so that it will stick really well. And there's several different ways you can go about it. I usually just measure out the first one and then put it in, and then I'll just use that paper backing from the first one as a template to cut out the rest that I need. And here comes my supervisor, and there he goes. Whatever you do, do not let the paper get stuck to itself. That's why I don't usually rip off the whole piece of backing all at once, because it is a nightmare to try to get that undone if it happens without tearing the wallpaper. So I usually just tear a little bit back to get it started and then peel it back as I go. There are tons of options now online for different peel and stick wallpapers, and sometimes even the dollar stores will have some. The ones I've seen are actually like individual sheets, but they're kind of small, so it really only works for smaller dressers if you don't want to have seams. But I find that the peel and stick wallpaper is usually thicker than like traditional shelf liners and stuff. Not all of them, but most of them have been thicker, which is easier to work with and doesn't tear as easily. I'm using this little scraper that I found in my stash. Came with something that I bought once upon a time, but before I found that, I was just using my hand. It works just as well to smooth out any air bubbles as you go. If you get a bunch in a big clump or something, then it's best to just go ahead and pull that wallpaper back right then and smooth that area out rather than spending forever trying to get all the bubbles out later. Once I get it all stuck down and smoothed out, then I just use an X-Acto knife to trim the edges. No, the top drawers are not done yet, but I wanted to go ahead and make a decision about hardware. I ordered a bunch of different ones off of Amazon because I couldn't decide. So that first one is the original, and I love it so much. It's one of the things I've loved about this dresser, but since I was going for a more modern, updated look, I just felt like the style of it was more traditional. So I got several different options, some in gold, one in champagne bronze, and you'll have to keep watching to see which one I picked. So the bleach worked pretty well, and so I went ahead and did it on this third drawer that still had some orange to it. And I don't know if you could tell in the video, but it's still a little darker than the other two. But I think if I just do the bleach one more time on this one, hopefully they will all match. And then I'm also going to attempt, I guess, to paint the grooves black and see how that goes. Well, that did not go well. I used the smallest angled paintbrush that I have and tried it on just one line, and it already got smudged outside the line. So I went to Hobby Lobby and found these paint pens that came in a variety of sizes, and these worked really well, and this went so fast. I'm so glad that I went and got these. And I will link these below if I can find them on Hobby Lobby's website for you. Okay, well, surprise, I didn't choose any of those handles. I did choose this one for the top drawers. This, I don't know if it's supposed to be a leaf or what, but I chose that one. But then for the handles, I ended up choosing this one, which I originally bought these for another dresser, my own dresser that I knew I was gonna keep. And then when I went back and was looking at them on Amazon, they were 50% off. So I bought another set because I also decided to keep this dresser in our basement. These are just, they feel so good in your hand. They're just like, I don't even know how to explain it. They're just yummy. So that's what I picked. Okay, I'm about to show you what we found inside this dresser. It was pretty shocking and unexpected. If you're easily offended, you might want to go ahead and cover your eyes or fast forward through this part, but I don't know. Looks like these were left over maybe from the 60s or 70s, judging by her hairdo. What do you think? There were a couple. This was the most tame one that I could edit to show you. But let me know, what kind of things have you found in pieces that you've picked up to redo? Here's a reminder of how it started. And here's how it looks now. So I decided to go ahead and keep this one in our basement for extra storage, at least for now, until I come across something else that I fall in love with. But I did go ahead and post this on Facebook Marketplace just to get an idea with the pricing, how I should be pricing these bigger dressers, and ended up getting several messages on the first day. So I do think I will be doing more with the black and in this style. So let me know your thoughts below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.